This is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster. Yeah, out of the movie thing. I didn't want to do it in the car. That would have been stupid. Out of the movie reaction to Transformers 1. The latest Bayverse slash Spielberg-verse Transformers movie. A little bit War for Cybertron in there. A little bit of old Transformers mush. A lot of old Transformers. Rob Powers, Rob Jung, Bobby Carruthers, and Ivy Bunley, all represented in some form or another in the story, as well as, of course, Raksha. And, of course, Kal Kat, the Atomicon, also in there. So what's not to love? It's all Transformers much, the animated movie. I had nothing to do with it, oddly enough. But I did make a suggestion that they used. Steve Buscemi as Starscream. Nice. It worked perfectly. It would have been more perfect is Peter Cullen and reprising his role, and Frank Welker reprising his role, but they didn't do that. They got two new people, Chris Hemsworth and another guy. I don't know the guy who plays Megatron's name, but yeah, it's fine. I just don't. And Scarlett Johansson, of course, getting cast as every voice in the universe. Bumblebee, I'm not sure if they played him either. But there were some Kal Kat associate cameos as Decepticon guards, which is kind of funny. And an Autobot or two. But yes, so yeah, yeah. Sure, but before the movie, we had some awful previews. That Santa Claus Red One movie, and another one that's like a sort of a Christmas Vacation spoof in which there's an evil family that is going to destroy the Christmas play. It's probably not very interesting. They also had a preview for there was another one too. It was like an evil guy. Oh, there was Catman, the movie. I assume that's based on the children's book series. I assume because that would be accurate. And they didn't do it right because they kind of imply that they choose a man's body they graft him into a dog. And that's really not what happened in the original Catman stories from like years ago. It's some other thing. In the original OG one from back in the 70s and 80s, Catman or Super Cat or whatever was just a anthropomorphized Thundercat type of cat. It's kind of like a Thundercat, but he had Superman powers. The Cleveland Cat also had Super Cat as well. The Cleveland Sheets and a Sneakers Cat as well. So yeah, it's been done before, but this is their new version of it. There was another preview for something else which was possibly better, but I don't remember what it was. Let's get on with Transformers 1. Okay, let's say that the marketing for this needs to delve into the fight a little bit. It needs to show what's going on a little bit later on. It slowly becomes Megatron. And D27 becomes Megatron. We kind of needed to show that a little bit so that Transformers fans of the OG would be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, clearly they had consultants in Optimus Primal, Rodimus Primal, and another YouTuber, the Black Critic, and the other guy. The other Critic guy was in the audience of the other dude that does the straight up Transformer review, so he'll be posting his later. He was there. He thought it was great too. So yeah. So again, the other guy was in the audience. Cool. Yeah. Right on. But yes. Because the guy playing Megatron is an actor who is African American. Just not sure about. Keep forgetting his name. I could look it up, but that's not important. No, it isn't really. I mean, they're yeah. So also they probably had the secrets of YouTube guide, the secrets of the Primes guide for consultation on the Primes, as well as Kal Kat. Yeah. So got the Primes right. Okay. Yeah. I would have envisioned the Primes as being more like we did in the All Transformers Mush Legacy, in which the original 13 Primes were based on these earlier demigod guys that had died. And the 13 robot ones were built by Primus to guard Cybertron from Unicron and other darkness things. And those ones died off, but the god ones did not, and they were in the other realm. So we explored that in Transformers No Legacy, and that's canon. So this movie's canon. So where in the timeline does Transformers 1 fit? As a OG Transformers fan, it fits. It fits neatly in the verse, War for Cybertron verse, or possibly some of the earlier game verse. It fits kind of in there, not neatly, kind of. Part of the consternation with early critics of the movie was that there were a lot of goofy jokes and running around and slapsticky things in the beginning, which any old Transformers Mush story will do, especially if Roxy had anything to do with it. She's kind of a consultant on it, I guess. That's why. No, it wasn't her. It was Ivy. It was in the credits. Yeah, I don't know her, but we adapted some of her stories, and so did they apparently. This was one of those. This is actually a little Gabriel Kwan in there a little bit too, just a little bit of that guy, the Genesis Fading Memories guy, Fading Empires guy. A little bit of the. They don't mention the word. They could have. They don't mention the word Maxis Kara, obviously. They do mention GoBots, though. They don't reference the Liege Maximo, who's one of the Primes. They don't directly reference him, but he's obviously there. So Sentinel Prime has the Onyx Prime's Matrix. Well, his transformation spark. Yeah. Originally in the OG series, they didn't have sparks. And then they retconned that with Beast Wars. So everybody has a spark. And the Matrix either goes in or comes out, depending on who's worthy. And of course, Chris Hemsworth with the Thor and the hammer and all that. So worthy, yes. You got to get him to play the guy with an axe, right? Yeah. Stormbringer. Yeah. Prime's Energon. Your premise of your story is basically, I'll just go into the story. Spoilers. Right away, because I do want people to go and see this, though. It's good. Spoilers. We have Orion Pax, Bumblebee, and Elita 1 is apparently their commander. The commander of Orion Pax and Megatron, but them called D27. D27 and Orion Pax. I'm not sure why he gets a number and the other guy doesn't. And they're buddies, which is different from the timeline, but sure, why not? In the OG timeline, Megatron was already leader of the Decepticons. Orion Pax kills him, and then he's rebuilt by Alpha Trion into Optimus Prime. It's the OG one version of it, which they showed in War Dawn 1 and 2 with the Aerobots. This is another timeline where those events happened a little differently. Another Kal Kat nod is the star that Cybertron is clearly orbiting is a red M dwarf. It rises up, it's red in the sky and all that, and it's Proxima Centauri. So, there. That's right out of Transformers Rush. Okay, these guys are like, yeah, I had nothing. It's weird. We had nothing to do with it, but clearly they were watching us in the 2020s when they wrote this. They were like, oh yeah, we gotta have that in there. 13 Primes. Got to mention Onyx Prime. Got to mention, Micronus Prime, the other primes, and do stuff. It's Bumblebee. It's the thing of Micronus Prime. Does that make him essentially a prime or something? They didn't explain that. They did that differently than they. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Fun is that they're doing a Shakespearean and Greek tragedy, a Shakespearean tragedy, a nod to a Greek tragedy. They're doing. I was thinking, is it completely Shakespearean, but Shakespeare borrowed from Greek tragedy? So no, it's Greek tragedy. It's basically it's the story of the two brothers who wanted to destroy each other, and they were brothers and they wanted to fight. It's that legendary story that as a plot device in the movie. I think that works quite well in the story. And if they just in the trailers can emphasize a little bit more of that instead of the slapstick, they get more people to watch this movie. It's like, oh, okay, they've done that several times. Shakespeare's Cicero and Pisby, but that's not it. It was yeah, like Hercules and Dionysus and stuff like that, Zeus and whatever thrown in there. So we have yeah, it was like Hercules and the Satyr and the other guys. Yeah, so there's a lot of illusions in there. It is all Transformers. There's no humans in it, so that's something. The Quintessons are made to look like these evil, the main bad guys in it. I liked how they retconned and changed it a little bit, so the Quintessons were more like an invasion force than they were actually the Cybertron creators. They built more of them, so they could say, yeah, technically they created them, but they really didn't. They're just an invasion force that came there as using Sentinel Prime as their main go-between in the story. So Sentinel Prime is evil in this one too, but he looks more like Dirge in Swoop had a baby. So like, what's this guy? I said that in the other. Why did they make him look like Swoop from G1? He's like, it's like, kind of does. Why does he look like Swoop? It's weird. Swoop Dirge. But yeah, they made Orion Pax look kind of funny too. But I think they used the designs were okay. It wasn't robots with back in the day with the Slim Mendibines. Yeah, it wasn't that. Actually, there was a rap song in the end credits. So I say, don't put a rap song in the end credits. So they did, and it's not a bad rap song. It's okay. It's fine. It fits in the movie. I would have preferred, rock music and stuff, but they did a symphony score instead, and that's fine. Some rock pop stuff. It's more for millennials. It's millennial Transformers. So they had to keep things moving rapidly in order to keep your attention from going away. There's nothing toward about it. It's not really PG-13 or anything. It's kind of on the border, but yeah, there are scenes where robots die, and some get resurrected and some not. But yeah, PG-13, somewhere in there. It's fine. If they're robots getting smashed around. There's an awful lot of jokes about the characters hitting each other, which is kind of funny. Very post-millennial, very Zoomer, and very alpha. Very Zoomer. It's really the alpha little guys. Zoomer. It's very Zoomer. They're not of age yet, Susie. So yeah, they're the Generation Z would only be in their early teens at this point, technically. Yeah. So. But yes, so we have. I'm not going to go into that because that's a tangent about not doing that. Okay, the Prime thing. Prime Megatron. Well, Orion Pax and it's going to be Megatron. They get kicked out of the mine thing for screwing up after rescuing a guy with Jazz, and then they and then Alita gets booted down to the lower decks, and so do they. They end up in the lower decks. They meet B-127, who's Bumblebee later on, who is crazy, and he has robots for friends down there. Clearly a nod to Transformers toy fans, and clearly a Kal Kat joke thrown in there, which of course I laughed at. I thought it was hilarious. And then of course Orion Pax breaks one of them immediately, and they find there's a spy thing inside it. Kind of like, you're my only hope, Obi-Wan from Star Wars. Little reference. Yeah, they're going to find the thing that the other ones can't seem to find for some reason. In this one, they kind of gave it away yesterday at the Target store that there's a version of, some of the characters are already there, so you kind of could tell what they were going to be. So I kind of gave it away. So I didn't want to say anything about it until I watched it. But Alpha Trion is sort of a unicorn Unicron. That's definitely a Kal Kat reference. That's funny. I like that. I'll have to get him as a toy because it's funny. Unikitty. Oh wait, Unicron. Yeah, he's a good guy, but a good guy though. So we have there's a lot of little jokes. clearly the people that did this movie were fans of the show, and well, more or less Armada and War for Cybertron later on, but fans of the show, and they understood. Okay, let's do a story where we show a version of what happens with the Transformers. It isn't necessarily the other stars. Not necessarily the Netflix show, but it does have DeSantis in it. Not to be confused with DeSantis, the governor of Florida. The other guy. Yeah, they're not the same guy. Oh, spelled a little differently. Yeah, he was in there. And we have, so they're booted down to the garbage heap, and then they find the message, and then they have to go up and go on, they go on the quest. They do the quest thing. They have the four of them on a quest. Alita follows them because she wants to, like, they go on the autonomous train thing to get to the surface, and that's where she gets pulled into it. And they go up to the surface, and they discover on the surface it's techno-organic, and they have techno-organic deer and weird things going on. And Quintesson mothership scanning for them and stuff. And apparently, even if they hold still, the scanner doesn't work, so they can tell they're not alive. Right. And they can still see their traces, but no, they didn't. So the Quintessons, then they go to a cave mouth thing, right out of a Tim Cantrell, Timinus Prime story. And inside the cave with a mouth with teeth. Right out of Transtech, Metal Shot Doomsday. Right out of our OGE series back in the day. This thing, the primes are in there. Instead of the other guy, instead of Strawberry and the other guy. But the primes are in there. So it's kind of across that one with a little bit of Rob Powers. A little bit of Gabriel Kwan as well. What happened to them? It's kind of like Gabriel. I wouldn't give everything away. Alpha Trion's in there. He's still online, but he's asleep. Stasis, they fix him. He reports that, tells them that Sentinel is not a prime. He's pretending to be one. They should stop him, basically. So, they have to go back and stop him. Meanwhile, D27, is it? Megatron? He's slowly going mad. Crazy, because, like, he's kind of psychotic, I guess. And he's slowly turning into Megatron, right? It's like Megatron. That scene where the worship Megatron thing was, they threw in that other scene with the Megatron poster, which is in the trailer, at the very end of the movie. Just there's a flashback scene during the battle. That's kind of weird placing that there. But yeah, the two brothers eventually becoming mortal enemies is a classic trope. Sure, why not? Well, along for the ride. So we have this. They have to go back and of course Sentinel traps them, takes the D27 and Bumblebee, and they got Orion and Alita, who should be Ariel at this point, not Alita 1, by the way. Should be Ariel. She becomes Alita 1 after she gets her cog. They should have done that. They messed that up. They messed that one little detail up. Ariel then becomes Alita 1 when she transforms. Exactly. So she should have been called Ariel. But still, they don't ever call Bumblebee, so that's okay. They do the shut him up thing. Even though in the G1, when Bumblebee talked all the time. The G1 show. Yeah. Kind of sounded like Steve Buscemi, but it wasn't. The Alita and Orion go find the Elite Guard out in the middle of nowhere. The Elite Guard are hiding out, and it is seen right out of the Kal Kat All Transformers Mush story. We have the Elite Guard chilling out like they're in underground from Heavy Bumbley and Carruthers, and they're like hanging out in the underground. I was like, oh my god. Yes, of course. And immediately, I was like, Steve Buscemi as Starscream. Okay, that works so well. I was like, oh my goodness. Soundwave wasn't bad either. But usually it sounds like this in the OG version. I would know. Except Frank Welker himself said, I'm not out of a day job, kid. I'm not out of work yet. That was 25 years ago. Anyway, so that was a long time, but yes. Um, so we have 40th anniversary Transformers. They Soundwave and Shockwave are apparently part of the Elite Guard. This one, yeah, they have Slipstream. They have Arachnid, who is Rakshi, running around. Raksha, the night racer. It's not really her. It's someone else playing her, but it might as well be. Stinker. Might as well be her. Oh yeah, I should go hang out with the Decepticons because she would. So we have, even though so it is a different timeline where Black Arachnia is actually part of that timeline. So it's probably sort of like a multiversal thing involving the different Primuses and different aspects of him, so that you could have the transorganic planet on the surface. Things are moving around. And because it's not really the Cybertron from OG, it's the Cybertron created at the end of Beast Machines. And they're just reliving the events of Transformers. But it's also to them now. And not millions of years ago, or not millions of years in the future. It's just yeah. That works. Yeah, this version of Cybertron is probably a colony of Cybertron. Basically, you could say that. It's a colony, and they're just reenacting some of the events that they knew about from before, when they were Maximals and Predacons. That works. That's fine. It's a multiverse. It's a Elseworld saga. DC would call it an Elseworld, or Marvel would call it other gods or something. Yeah, that world. Secret Wars. Secret Wars or Battle Planet. Yeah. Battle World. Right. Kind of that. It works. Fine. It works. But yes, so you have them having to go back and go to the main tower and defeat the main bad guy. Any classic video game. I was inadvertently giving away the plot of the end of this movie in my review of Alien Romulus. Yeah, because that's kind of what they did. I was like, the Alien Romulus didn't end right. They should have actually gone to Weyland-Yutani and kicked the main boss guy's ass. Because that's what everybody wanted to see in an Alien movie. Mark's Cards and I were discussing that yesterday, and we're like, that's what needed to happen in Alien 4. And they threw that script away years ago, Alien 4, now it's Alien 7. But yeah, that was the original script, is aliens were going to attack Weyland-Yutani and be everywhere, overrunning the Earth. To go and defeat them. Yeah, that would be the plot. Sigourney Weaver's clone was going to fight Sigourney Weaver. And that was the plot. They changed it and made her just a clone in the story. But it's like, no, she fights herself. That was the original premise. Yeah. Also, Jurassic World should have been similar to that, in that the dinosaurs finally attack Earth. They go to a city. They go to LA or something, and they're there and running through the streets, running rampant. Yeah, it's kind of the same idea. Well, here they did that in space. They did that together. They have running rampant on the ground. Pre-Decepticons, proto-Decepticons running around, killing people, killing robots. They had proto-Autobots running around, things. Chris Helmsworth did discuss with Peter Cullen, the Optimus Prime character, not necessarily doing a spot-on imitation of Optimus Prime, but rather a version of Optimus Prime, and for the most part nailing it. Unlike the Mario movie, which was a fun movie, but yeah, Chris Pratt, it's not Mario. He's done the Mario. He does not sound like a Mario. You want to sound like a Mario? You gotta be Italiano. You gotta have that voice in there. You gotta have that classic voice, Marconi voice in there. It's gotta be in there. Otherwise, it's not Mario. I don't know what that is. Anyway, so. It's not that hard. Yeah. 1/4 Italian and I can do it. Come on. How come you guys can't do it? I just lapped it into a Chicago accent. Wait, that's because Chicago, Brown would need Chicago. So. But yes, I am Optimus Prime. At one point they did throw in a line where he does say freedom is the right of all sentient beings, which of course jump out of my seat practically. Yes. Yes. There weren't very many people in the theater. There should have been. It was a 10:40 show in the XD theater, And theaters the screens used to be bigger back in the day. Century 21 and 22 theaters back in the day, they're gone now. Used to have way bigger screens. The sound wasn't better, but way bigger screens. You can go in there and it was like a full immersion wall screen, like they do now when they say X screen or whatever. Like, no, these were like huge, like big projection screen. This is a pretty big screen. It was a whole wall, but it wasn't half as big as the OG one, from what I recall. I'm watching the original '86 Transformers the movie. I think the '86 one is still better in terms of how it holds up, but critics didn't like that movie. I certainly did. I saw it. It's the most watched movie ever in history. That Transformers, the '86 movie, has been watched so many times that it is it's been around for 40 years, but I've watched it over 40 times. That's insane. Only second to Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan, which I've seen at least 30 times or something. Wrath of Khan. But yeah, I gave up the DVD collection from all those other older DVDs, so I don't have those to watch over and over again anymore. But yeah, after the move. But we do have the Transformers thing and some posters that I immediately took all four at the end. The guy wasn't looking. I wanted all four. They have them. So, anyway, so you have your final boss battle and your final fight. I don't want to give away everything. I'm not going to do like a play-by-play analysis. I'll let the other critic guy who was in the theater watch it with him do that. I'll let him do that with behind the scenes and pictures and stuff and trailer footage, which I can't do on my channel. I get flagged, even though Paramount and Disney, shill, but indirectly. No, I never get paid for this. But yes, I never get paid for this. But yeah, Hasbro, we never actually worked for Hasbro, but we've come up with their ideas when they have to. So I think they're okay with some of that in that, this guy years ago did donate to the Dinobot contest, so Transmetal Dinobot is kind of his design. And somebody else, but mainly his. So yeah, we got to give him credit for something from the 90s. But yes, so there's the other thing. Yes, Jetfire did sound a bit like Clint Cowpoke. He did. Jetfire has a cameo. Sounded a little bit like Cowpoke, just a little bit. But I don't think it was, but it was a darn good close. Darn close. There was a Dreadwing was it? Dreadwing sounded like Morton Roadkill, which was kind of fun. So we had Jetfire and Dreadwing. They're gonna make a Dreadwing toy, or I want the Sentinel Prime toy too. But I want all those guys. So we have that makes you want to buy toys, certainly, of them. They're very small. The newer first releases, although they have Thews Awesome Reviews got a package from Hasbro. Had a bunch of them in it. So I had some other toys from Hasbro that just came in. I just opened them and looked at them. No. So I decided I'm not doing what he did. I'm just saying I have some other ones. I did enter one of his contests for Road Rage, the little red tracks variant. I didn't win the contest. So there was a toy show like a week later. I went to the toy show and I got the Road Rage figure that the other guy ordered from the contest. So indirectly I ended up getting it. There you go. Oh, yeah. I got this from 2000 Release Contest. No, he didn't really, but it was the same model. But, that would have been an extreme coincidence. Only a week later. No, that's not what happened. But I did get him. Road Rage appeared in the stories. Like this thing represent. Yeah, apparently the evil Sentinel fake Prime has been stealing the transformation cogs out of the Transformers and making them like slaves, so they can mine Energon for the Quintessons. Again, an alien race wanting to get Energon and not paying for it. But they could go and cross the galaxy and find something like that. They don't have to go to a planet and mine it for Energon. They're just doing it to be dicks. So, Yeah, the aliens don't have to get our resources from a planet. They don't have to do that. They can just go on their own, and it's easier to do it if it's uninhabited. But yeah, if they are part of the planet, maybe they're just trying to get the planet back. Like the Quintessons in the OG one they didn't explain. Maybe that's for part 2 in Transformers 2 TWO. They are all Autobots. As they become Autobots, the Matrix saves them and stuff. Well, they find the Matrix saves them. Yeah. The beginning of the wisdom of the Matrix. On the very beginning. I bet Tim would like this movie. Maybe he would. He should take his kid to see it. Yeah, he should go. If he hasn't already, he should go. He probably already went and saw it. Probably saw it like yesterday. But well, I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, it works. I think it works. It's although I think the kid is like under 10, I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he'll probably squirm around through the whole thing. He's under 10, so I don't think he'll be able to sit still. Probably not. But yeah. So we have. Yeah. Transformers 1 has pushes the right buttons, has the right idea. The line about not having the touch of the power, that's funny. But that's a weird reference only because it was in the trailer, and also because in the movie it works because he's like referencing, well, not just the movie, but he's referencing the 86 one. But in the context, she says it because he's suddenly all proud and stuff. So that's why she says it. So in the movie, in the cartoon movie, it makes sense that he would say that, even though they're not aware of the song playing in the background. So how would they know the rock songs from the OG one? They're not aware the songs are being played. They're not turning on a boombox and going and listening to The Touch by Stan Bush. That isn't what happened. But in the trailer, it made it look like that's what happened. They did a lot of bait and switch. But yeah, if they just showed some of the fight between the two brothers and them wanting to challenge each other, that would make a trailer better, and your movie would sell more. But yeah, one of the better ones. Certainly, after all these years, Michael Bay's production company has learned from their mistakes and done an animated Transformers movie that actually doesn't suck. No, it's pretty good. Sort of a Transformers Prime homage in some ways as well. It has that whole sacrifice and then rejuvenation thing going on. Transformers Prime, which they've done several times, going back to sort of the OG one. But in the OG one, like Rodimus Prime was commander for like about a year and a half or so, and then they had to rebuild him to fight the plague, the hate plague on the planet. So that was like 2 years later or something. Yeah, 2007, 2008, and that story. Transformers 1. Excellent. We're going to hang up the Transformers 1 posters now. Yeah, so you should go see it. Yes, go out and see Transformers 1. I haven't given it all away. All of those references to those various alt Transformers Rush people were not in the movie specifically, but they're definitely aware of it, and them as well. And they had sort of been referenced. They even did a cameo. They had a Moonracer in there too. Moonracer / Night Racer. Yeah, they did. They did everything. They had Chassis. Just blink and you miss her. She's in there too. They had an RC in there toward the end there. Yeah. So, they had the underground characters. They showed up. They were in the background during there was a race sequence. It was Velocitron. Of course they did. From the Armada series. There was but it was a race on the planet. It was a 500 the race. Indy 500 spoof. Yeah. So Transformers 1. Yeah. They could do more of them. Sure. Yeah, getting regular voice actors to play the movie is fine. Hemsworth is fine. Yeah, everything it seemed to work. Yeah. So I want to give it a so far one of the. Well, there's of course there's Inside Out 2, which is still best animated feature, but this is second to that at 4 stars to Inside Out 2. Yeah, this year so far. second best animated film of the year, because Inside Out 2 was better. But yes, it was fine. Go see it. Now a Transform and Rollout. I am Optimus Prime. Transform your destiny. Be more than meets the eye. Now, how would they know that they're... Now, that was kind of silly. They wouldn't know that they were more than meets the eye. They would just be... stay for the after-credits sequence. There is one. Get to see the Autobots forming. The Autobots. This is a little ham-fisted, but sure, why not? Clearly Kal Kat. Silly Kelly reference at the end. There had to be Silly Kelly in there. And of course, we had to get our Morton Roadkill and Jim Jim Buffkin reference at the very end in that final trailer thing, which I will give away a little since why not? Decepticons and how they go about the Decepticons. The Decepticons. We shall lower the brand of Megatronus and become known as Decepticons. Yes, and then Optimus Prime going, you shall be forever Autobots. Clang. Yes, he should have said clang. There is a point in which he says clang. One of them says clang. I think it was the part where they do the clang was a joke behind over. So clearly they're aware of all Transformers watching and the making of it. This movie is clearly aware of our stuff. If you guys over there at Hollywood and Paramount want to hire me to write a script, I will totally do part 2. You can hire me. I'll do it. It'd be awesome. Yes. Or do a voice in it. That'd be even better. You write the script, I'll do a voice. That'd be really cool. I mean, shoot, if ScarJo can be in it, I can be in it. Come on. Anyways.